Start it up.
All right. Welcome back. Classic Mix Up, episode 11.
What's
Hello,
up,
Riley. How
everybody?
are you?
I'm doing great, Rosario. How you been?
I'm all right. I'm a little tired, but I guess it's that time of the year, so
Yeah,
we're
me
pushing
too.
through.
Me too.
Excited to be here for you guys today on episode 11, Classic Mix Up.
Big 1-1.
Uh, yeah, if you don't know, this is a music podcast where we're going to talk about a few specific albums of the week, if you will, and then some other random things throughout. Yeah.
Yeah. So this week we both. Last week we gave each other a couple albums, and I gave Rosario the kind of I would say a resurgence of that Midwest emo kind of you know
Yeah. Pop
album,
punk,
pop punk. It's
alternative
called
rock. Yeah.
Greatest Hits by Remo Drive. And Rosario this week gave me the album, what is it called? Pixel
Pixel
Bath
Bath.
by Gene Dawson.
Yes.
So it was kind of, which is more of a techno hip hop, kind of almost like emo-y
Hmm.
hip hop to
It's all
techno-y
kinds
kind
of
of mashup.
things.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're gonna
yeah.
we're gonna kind of jump right into it here with just going right off of what Riley said. I'll start on Pixel Bath.
Mhm.
It's an interesting album. It's kind of hard to put your finger on exactly what it is at times. I'd say at its core it is electronic. But it is also, I mean, in terms of the presentation of the lyrics and the vocals, it is very hip hop, rap adjacent.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the reason I picked it. I picked it because it doesn't really sound quite like anything else, and the mashups that he has with the electronic and the rock elements and all that, I just think it deserves some spotlight because I think what he does here is pretty cool. I think it makes for some pretty catchy music, and
Mhm.
I was pretty obsessed with it over the summer. Actually, a couple months ago. Um, yeah, I don't know. I someone recommended it to me. I listened to it, and I think on my second time I heard it, which was a few weeks after the first time, I like really started getting into it. I haven't listened to it much since then, but I had a pretty enjoyable re-listen of it this week. So yeah, what did you think of it?
Um, I felt that the parts that I liked, like, were very like they waned like very fast. Like they weaned out very fast. They weaned themselves out. So
Mm-hmm.
like I loved the start of a lot of songs, like a lot of the bass lines, a lot of the guitar. But then right when
For
the
sure.
electronic beats come in, he starts rapping. It like ruins it. It's like the biggest boner kill for this album.
Okay,
Is like
that's
is
fair.
like I feel like I'm listening to like an industry plant, like something that's trying to be underground and trying to be like experimental, but it's just so much that it feels forced. Like because you have a lot of
Yeah,
songs, like even having ASAP Rocky on that one song, I forgot what it's called.
yeah, triple
Uh,
double.
yeah, it was like I had to re-listen to it when I found out that ASAP Rocky was in it because I just totally checked out. Because I was very just like, oh, like that's cool. That's an ASAP Rocky verse, but like compare that to like Hitler Wears Hermes 10, his on shout out to whatever shootouts in Soho.
Hmm.
Um, that ASAP Rocky verse is memorable. That's like fucking like, oh my god,
Yeah,
it's ASAP Rocky.
totally.
This kind of his verse in that song in Triple Down or whatever. What the fuck? Classic mix up, everybody.
Yeah, that's a classic mix-up right
Classic
there.
mix up, triple double. So in
Triple
triple
double.
double, which is the second song off the album, ASAP Rocky's kind of on it, and I feel like he got lost in it a little bit. But this isn't his kind of style. It's very
Yeah, I was surprised to see him on it the first time I
pop.
heard it.
It's
Yeah.
very poppy.
So one thing I'll say about Gene Dawson is that his rapping has never been the best. That's not really
Mhm.
his strong point. I know he kind of tries to like make rap music, but he really leans on his production and his choruses and really the whole electronicness of it all, if you will,
Right.
which I do know that you're not the biggest fan of electronic music because I mean, well, I just know. And one thing about this album is that it relies like pretty heavily on auto tune and just like electronic
Electronic,
elements and
yeah,
stuff like that.
electronic
Yeah,
breakdowns that it like so what
yeah,
I liked was that the guitar and bass was kind of like it was distorted, kind of like a Mitski or like a Black Keys or even
some
like a
stuff we've
Remo
talked about
Drive,
before.
like
Yeah,
it was kind of cool, and I was ready for that to be like a part of the song,
right.
but then they cut it out. He
Right,
cut
yeah,
it
those were
out.
yeah. So there's a lot of moments in the album where it'll like switch from almost like a beat switch where it'll be like normal, like what you're used to hearing type of guitars and bass lines and
Yeah.
drum lines, and then it will switch, like you said, like an electronic breakdown. I think it's kind of hit or miss for me for those parts of the album.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of the album is kind of hit or miss in general. As far as Triple Double goes, I'm a fan of Triple Double. I think it's like really smooth sounding song. And I like the way that he uses the auto tune in this song and the
Yeah.
electronics. I think it kind of works to elevate his vocals, and when you tie it in with that instrumental, I think it comes off as a really fun, energetic song.
Yeah. I
Um,
totally get that. I
and there is I guess I could see how you would want it to be a little bit more coherent, but at the end of Triple Double there is a really cool like guitar solo that comes in, which is not electronic-y at all. It's just a
yeah.
stripped back kind of basic guitar
Yeah.
solo, which is cool.
Well, that's what I mean is like it's not that there isn't good guitar and bass in this
Mm-hmm.
album. It's just that it gets taken away from you. You know, it doesn't
Yeah, it
get built
does.
upon.
It does
It just gets
sometimes.
ripped out
Yeah.
of the song. Like it for and it get like instead of having a cool distorted guitar, they have a
Mhm.
cool distorted like electronic like probably like a MIDI or something like that, like just a keyboard, and then they do the
Yeah.
drops where like what how do I explain this? But what would be guitar is instead of electronic MIDI, and it sounds different, but it messes up the flow in some parts for me. Which is okay. Like I mean, like it's just some people's music. Like that's just what people like. But I
Yeah.
feel like do you know was it Black MIDI or
Yeah,
do you know
I do.
that band is kind of like that where they have a lot of distortion and electronic and that kind of stuff and
Hmm.
but
Kind of chaotic.
well yeah, and this reminded me a lot of like JPEG Mafia, Death Grips,
Yeah.
Injury
Not
Reserve.
as not as abrasive though. This album is more kind of smooth and fun and a little more like
Right. I think that goes with the idea that I feel like that this is almost like an industry plant for like they were like they
yeah,
listened to
I could
like
see that.
JPEG Mafia and Injury Reserve and we're like, okay, what can
Hmm.
we make? What like let's throw some like let's throw some like Juice World onto this and
Yeah.
then we're
Well, the
good.
thing is that he kind of has, one thing that I think is kind of a lot of artists, like one thing that a lot of people may struggle with is that you kind of have a couple different styles and you're kind of dipping your foot in a lot of different places,
Yeah,
but you're not making one cohesive thing, or you're not like embracing your strengths. I think that's a really important thing
right.
for an artist finding their sound. Like for example, for Gene Dawson is you have tracks like '06 Burst, which are like super aggressive and dark and kind of
Yeah.
loud, chaotic,
That
kind
was
of
very
closer
like
to like
Death
Death
Grips.
Grips.
That's
Yes,
what I mean is
exactly.
like I wanted to say not to cut you off, but I don't want to lose this
No, keep
thought. It's
going.
like it's not a bad thing that he sounds like Injury Reserve, Death Grips, and JPEG Mafia, and you can hear the inspiration of like I'm like oh this like that one song that you're talking about the '06
Hmm.
whatever,
Hmm.
that was Death Grips. I was like fuck this is like a cool like lighter Death Grips song,
Right.
and it made me listen to Injury Reserve, which was one of my favorite like rap groups back
Yeah.
in like high school, like early high school, like when I listened to a lot of Earl, like when some rap songs came out. I
Yeah.
recommend kind of off topic, but Injury Reserve. Recommend the song Three Man Weave by Injury Reserve, and you might
Okay.
like it. It's a
I
pretty
haven't
like
gotten into
underground.
them too much.
Um,
I started listening to their most recent album
yeah,
and I never really finished it because I couldn't get into it, but I think I should give it another try.
yeah. I mean, we'll listen to their top songs, and you might like it because
Yeah,
a
I
lot
feel
of
like I
that's
would.
like kind of
I know
like
a lot of people who like them.
Injury Reserve's kind of like Gene Dawson in the sense of like their production's kind of out there, so it's like
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, going back to like the to the whole idea is that like the inspiration I can tell is there. Like this guy's definitely like inspired by like different
Mhm.
genres, and I'm trying to think of who else he reminds me of, like a Josiah. You know, remember that guy?
Yeah,
He like right when X died, he kind of popped off. What's his
yeah.
song? It's like
I f-
it was on TikTok. It was a whole bunch.
I know what you're talking about. He's kind of the
Yeah,
loud,
Break. It's
aggressive
called like
guy.
Break or something. Yeah, but like that production is
Oh,
kind of
break
similar. Or like
shit. Yeah,
yeah, Break shit. Or
yeah,
Rico Nasty. This reminds me of Rico Nasty a little bit. Like I
definitely.
love I
Some
love Rico
yeah.
Nasty, but
So
for me,
what I was getting to is that I wish that he leaned more into one side instead of kind of flip flopping. So you have a song like '06 Burst that is kind of that dark and really aggressive song, but then there's also like a lot more like lighthearted kind of upbeat songs like Devilish and Pyrotechnics. And
right.
I get it. It's cool to have that kind of variation on your album, and I do appreciate that. But I think he should really kind of, instead of being kind of jack of all trades, master of none, I think he could really improve by going down one lane and kind of sticking to it. Like, so for
Or
example,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Go ahead.
well, I was going to give an example. Like one thing that he does that I like, that other artists do, that other like artists I like say Kenny Mason, for example,
Mm,
or Paris, Texas, for example, is like the rock rap thing, where you
yeah,
have like a kind of heavy like rock and roll guitar riff and bass line, and then you rap over that. I always think that sounds really good. And
yeah,
Gene Dawson kind of dips his foot into that, but he really leans more towards the electronic stuff. So
yeah.
that's just an
I
example of
guess
one way he could kind of iron it out.
right. And I think you brought up a good example in Kenny Mason is like you can see where like Kenny Mason, like I didn't really know about Kenny Mason until like the Forever Story dropped, and you were like, dude, you have to listen to
Okay.
Kenny Mason, like he's good.
Yeah, one of my favorite
And
artists. Shout out Kenny
uh
Mason.
like and you were like, oh, he does rock and he does like R&B, he does a little bit of everything. But the thing with
Hmm.
Kenny Mason is he consolidates a style to a song. So you think of
Yeah,
like
definitely,
Hit, like you think of Hit, that is a rap song, you know?
100%.
But like you think of like anything off of his new album, that's more like it is more like each individual song, like the three like what middle songs of that album are like rock.
Yeah, there's some songs on Roughs that are
Yeah.
straight up rock and roll songs, and there's
But it's
songs
good.
on there. Yeah, of course, he's
It's
great
not
at
bad.
pretty much everything he tries to do. He is great at it. I highly
Mhm.
recommend checking out Kenny Mason. But
Yeah, but I think that's what the difference of Gene Dawson is that, like, I don't know if
yeah,
his new albums kinda do this better, but, like, almost consolidating, like, the sounds to individual songs.
yeah, I agree with that. I think he would benefit from. You're right. I agree with that. I think I'm thinking about my favorite songs. My favorite songs kind of stick to one style, and he really like delves fully into that thing instead of kind of like you said going around to all sorts of different things. So,
I
for
liked
example, my favorite song is Pyrotechnics,
mhm,
which is the outro. It's a really I think it's a really good way to wrap up the album. It's a much slower, maybe a little more emotional song. I
mhm,
think that kind of taps into a little more of his like rock and roll, but it's like a kind of a slow rock and roll.
right.
And it is still hip hop at the end of the day, but it's still. I mean, there's a way to kind of pull from different inspirations and mesh genres together. There's a way to do it, and I think that is one thing that does it well. And the way to not do it is, like you said, the songs where he is, I guess, jumping around all over the place and kind of losing your attention by doing that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so kinda going back a little bit, but, like, I was trying to look at the songs that I liked,
Hmm.
and I you brought up that, like, those songs that you like tend to stick to the same kinda sound and stuff. I
Right.
totally agree, like, my 2 favorite songs are Bruise Boy and Pegasus, which,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
Bruise Boy is
Bruce Boy is
slow.
another one of my favorites.
It's
Yeah.
slow, but it sounds good. It has a similar, like, a
Yeah.
consistent sound. Pegasus has that guitar all the way through it until the ending, and it's kinda
Right.
like it sounds, like, good and consistent, and I enjoyed that, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, sounds good." But then, like,
Yeah. I'm a
after
big fan of the
that
slower parts of the album. Like Bruce Boy has that bridge at the end.
yeah.
Not the most impressive rapping, obviously, but I think it's a really good cohesive song.
It's enjoyable to listen to. But like after '06 Burst in between, so I guess '06 Burst to like Pyrotechnics,
I
a lot
agree.
of those songs were like weak. Like
That's the worst
Policia,
part of the album for sure.
Clear
Yeah.
Bones, Power Freaks. I think I literally skipped Policia.
Yeah. Well, Policia is kind of tough because it's all in Spanish for
Yeah.
one, but it's also just
Well,
not.
I
It's
mean,
not the
but
best
just it
song.
wasn't a flow. It must have been a transition song or something. But
Yeah, I think the it's kind of weird because this is a weird criticism to have of an album this short. I mean, it's only sitting at 39 minutes, but I think it would have been better suited as something more around like 25 because although his ideas are like experimental and cool, I just don't know if the ideas alone are enough to carry a whole album. And that's kind of evident, I think, in his newest release that dropped in 2022. I listened to it once. I don't really remember it, but I just remember not really liking it so much and not seeing much improvement with him.
right.
Which kind of sucks because I think he has good ideas with what he's trying to do. I'm a big fan of the whole rock rap genre and even a lot of the electronic parts of the album I tend to enjoy, but the album still feels a little scattered and a little all over the place. But personally, I think there's still a lot of enjoyable songs, even though there's kind of a dry spell there that we mentioned. There's a lot of enjoyable songs, and I think it's a really cool album conceptually and what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I just got bored with it. But I mean, I just it just wasn't my thing. But I don't listen to a lot of this stuff. Like I don't listen to a lot of rock.
Yeah, right.
Like I like more underground or mainstream. Like if we're gonna be like I like words. Like he doesn't really say much. Like
No, he
I
doesn't
was pretty
really.
surprised because usually you give me albums that are like if it's a rap, they
It's
say shit
lyrically
and it's like,
dense.
oh my
Yeah.
god, like this is good lines or the bars in this are like enjoyable to listen to, but like this is just
Yeah,
like
like I said, Gian's not really the greatest rapper. He really leans on the atmosphere that he creates with the production because I think that's what he's going for. Really, is by making the production so chaotic and electronic and distorted, all these things that we've said, and then he comes with his vocals with the way he delivers it. He's high energy, usually fairly like pretty fast.
yeah.
The lyrics and the flows kind of definitely take a backseat to just the atmosphere of the music, which that's what he's really leaning on. So
Right.
if you're not a fan of electronic, you're not gonna be a fan of the album at all.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't consider myself a fan of electronic. I think he does it pretty well.
yeah. No, it's I don't know. I feel like this was kind of like this album was also more of a, uh, I guess, an album in the sense of just making noise or putting songs out. Because like we've listened to some great storytelling albums, some albums
Mhm.
that are cohesive, some albums that are almost too cohesive and sound exactly the same, and like, but this album kind of doesn't like. You look at even the title and the cover, and then like the song titles and the narrative of the songs, it almost just feels like he made these individual songs and was like, okay, let's slap them together and send them out, which just
Yeah,
happens a lot,
that's why I feel like it would be better suited as like a shorter
like
EP
an
or like
EP.
I think he has the ability in him to make something that has like a proper flowing transition, even if you start at electric or like indie pop or whatever, and
Right.
then end at like black metal. I think I think he could pull off a transition like that throughout an entire album. I just don't. I don't think he's done it here, obviously, because he's really jumping around a lot. But I think the ways that he chooses to make music, I think they have pros and cons. I mean,
Yeah.
the pros are it's really interesting sounding stuff. It's unique. It provides you with something that you don't get from other places. The cons, of course, being you have to have control over that and not kind of let the music get out of control, which we've mentioned on some songs that kind of happens, and it leaves you with just kind of not knowing what just happened sometimes. But
Yeah, and like I feel like a bunch of songs are trying to be hype, when they're just not. Like they
Yeah,
fall
I
flat.
find some of them may fall flat for some people, but I find some of them to
I mean, do
be
you get what I'm trying to say though with that though?
no, I do.
It's like I can tell that like maybe it was just for me, just with me or something, but like a couple of the songs that I could tell that he wanted to almost do like a JPEG Mafia switch up where he like switches up to a crazy beat or like a super fast
Mhm.
beat or even like a like let's say like who else has done this like fuck like I think of like Outcast or something like that where they switch up to like a beat switch. Basically like
Yeah,
his beat switches are supposed or have a place in the song where they're supposed to be like a mosh song. Like you're listening to a
right.
Josiah or a Ski Mask or a X or
Hmm.
like that kind of like that more like SoundCloud rap like Smoke Perp,
Hmm.
like Comethazine, like that kind of shit, but it just falls so flat. I don't know if that's the mixing. I mean, some of the songs are good, but again, I like the songs that have consistent sound, and those were not the hype songs.
Yeah,
Like
that's
almost
fair.
like he's
I think
trying to
some
be
of the
edgy. Almost like he's
I
trying to
think
be
some of
edgy,
the
but it's just not.
I think some of the quote unquote like hype songs they're talking about, I get where you're coming from, and I wouldn't compare it to something like something by from like Cardi or like a Travis Scott beat switch or like a Baby Keem beat switch. It's not there, but I get I guess the point that he's going for there. I think the thing about this album is that there's a lot of good things about it.
Mm,
There's a lot of stuff here that certain type of people would really like.
mm.
Um, I think if you listen to this album, there's a decent chance that you really gonna love it, but it does kind of have to connect for you. So for me in the summer when I was listening to this a lot, for whatever reason, it was just really hitting for me. And granted, there was only certain songs that I was listening to a lot. It wasn't really the whole
Right.
album,
Yeah.
but there were just some certain songs that really just hit for me. They I don't know, everything kind of stars aligned and lined up perfectly for me to really like them. But overall, I mean, it leaves a little bit to be desired, and it makes me sad. I first heard it when this was his most recent stuff. Since then, he's had another album come out. It makes me kind of sad that his newer album was a little disappointing because this would have been a great album to look back on and say,
You could see
okay,
the
it's got
evolution.
its flaws,
Yep.
but he has potential, and I like the direction he's going, which I did. And I'm gonna have to re-listen to his newest album, but
Get back to us
I
on
don't know. I
that.
feel like he didn't really capitalize on the opportunities that he had after this album becoming fairly popular.
Hmm. Damn. Okay. Well,
Um,
do you have any recommendations off this album?
I mean, yeah. So I was about to say my favorites are Devilish, Triple Double, probably Pyrotechnics, and Bruise Boy.
Hmm.
It's kind of a love it or hate it album, and it took me a couple of listens to get to the point where I started seeing the vision.
Yeah.
It might be the type of thing where, since it is kind of chaotic and loud, that you might need a couple of listens to, I guess, decipher really some of the songs. But
Maybe that's what happened with me on this, but I mean,
I mean, I know you're also not that big of a fan of electronic music, though. And I mean, and if you're listening to this podcast and you're not a fan of electronic music, I definitely wouldn't recommend it because he relies heavily on auto tune and kind of electric sounding beats. But I think
well,
it works
it's
well
the
for
worst
him.
parts of like it's the stuff I don't like about Cardi and Travis Scott and like all that kind of stuff, and it's on this
Yeah,
album, and I'm just like, it's all right. I don't know. I can't even say it's all right. It was all right.
that's okay. It's okay for you to not like it.
It's not
It's
my
kind of a
favorite.
shot in the dark, me recommending this one to
Listen,
him.
hey,
I really just wanted to kind of discuss, which we did, all the different genres that he pulls from, and
mm,
I guess how the stuff he does well, which I don't know if I've done a great job of doing, but I think he does a great job of being high energy in his delivery. I think he does a great job of creating atmospheres with the auto tune voice combined with the electronic instrumentals. I think it oftentimes actually makes for a really pleasant sound. And I think he does the pulling other elements into hip hop really well, being able to bring electronic music into hip hop and being able to bring rock and roll into hip hop and kind of sometimes making it all align perfectly and work out. It's amazing. Sometimes you kind of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, and sometimes it's not much, but I respect the risks and the experiments that he's taking here. I hope that he continues to try them and really embrace the stuff that he does well, and hopefully one day really come up with a good cohesive sound, and really a direction for him to follow that's not so scattered.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about all I have to say.
It was just funny because a couple of times I was expecting the songs to be like a Mitski song, and
for him to just go like total indie
Mitski.
pop on you.
Well, and then I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be good, and then it was like, okay,
Yeah,
bro. Like switch it up on me, huh?
That's fair.
But I recommend Bruised Boy Pegasus Triple Double, or not Devilish. Devilish, Bruised Boy Pegasus.
Yeah, that's a good 3. I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess transitioning now.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to transition to the other album, you can do that, sir.
Yeah, I've said my piece about the Gene Dawson album. Yeah, next up we've got kind of a heavy hitter here. I
forgot how good this album was.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
So I gave Rosario the album, 2017 album by the band Remo Drive called Greatest Hits. Funny enough, we'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, this is a pop punk emo indie kind of indie rock thing, and it's a short album, 37 minutes, but it's full of bangers. And
it's awesome.
I was 15 when this came out, and I caught this right when it came out. So I was, sophomore in high school, and this shit was, dude, this is nostalgic for me. This album reminds me of my first girlfriend. This reminds me of my second girlfriend. This reminds me of like my first kiss. Like this album, I was jamming through all of the like growing up stages of high school. Like I was like, oh, for sure was like at a party one time and just being like, dude, turn this song on, and it was fucking art school. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because this is the first time I've heard this album, yet it also felt nostalgic to me because it reminds me of the music that I listened to during everything you just described. It wasn't this album in particular, but this album reminds me of the music that I was listening to. So it had the same effect for me. That's except awesome. All the songs were new, and I've heard them for the first time, and I've been listening.
Which is great because there's a couple of songs on. There's 3 songs on here, at minimum 3, that we're like I have jammed, like they've been on playlists since like 2017, 2018. Like it's Art School, You're Killing Me, and I'm My Own Doctor. Those 3 songs have been on my playlist forever. So,
and I can't blame you for that because they're awesome. Yeah, I guess I'll start off by saying my thoughts, which I've already said, is that I really loved it. I don't really have many notes for this album because I was kind of jamming, so I'm going off the cuff a little bit. That's but fine. Yeah, of course it's fine. So yeah, this album was sick. It brings me back to like the early 2000s. Well, okay, I say it brings me back to the early 2000s if I was there. I mean, technically I was there, but I wasn't listening to music because I was a small child. But it reminds me it reminds me of music from the early 2000s, which I listened to like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and so it brings me back to that point. Middle school mainly, high school. But the point I guess that I'm trying to get at here is that emo and pop punk in general is like a dying genre. You don't see too many people kind of doing that anymore, or at least not doing it well. I mean, I guess you have Machine Gun Kelly, but that doesn't really count. Right.
Gross.
Sorry to all the Machine Gun Kelly fans out there.
Throw up.
Yeah, no,
I hate Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, me too. I saw a picture of someone we know at a Machine Gun Kelly concert. We'll
what's the
talk
initials?
about it later. CM.
What?
I don't-
I'll talk about it. We'll talk about this
yeah.
after. I'll
Anyways,
type down CM somewhere. Okay,
okay.
keep going.
Anyways, it's super refreshing to hear an album like this in 2022, almost 2023, maybe when you're hearing this. It just made me so happy. It was brought back so much nostalgia for me, and it's a great album. I mean, nostalgia aside, and just me loving this genre aside, um, yeah, it was great.
Oh, it's so good.
It reminds
So
me of all the
delicious.
bands that I loved from the peak of the emo kind of era.
But it's different. It's still like you can hear the
It
New Wave
is,
influences, like the
yeah.
more garage rock influences. That's what I like too. Is it wasn't like a like it's not like
It's not a carbon copy of anything.
no,
It still
it's
sounds
its own thing.
modern,
Yeah,
right?
it's its own thing. You can hear more elements of garage rock and like indie instead of just pure emo or
Yeah,
like pop punk.
yeah. So what I think it is it reminds me of, like I said, all of those bands from the kind of emo era, like Blink 182. Blink 182 is really the main one that I this reminded me of,
Mm.
who was and still really is one of my favorite bands in that genre. And I think the similarity in that kind of comes from like the nasally and sometimes like whiny singing that the lead singer of this band has. And of course the classic kind of angsty punk subject matter, and a lot of the lyrics really came through. But past that, I think it's fairly unique. I think what they, one thing they do really well is they're able to bring in the modern elements but still stay true to the classic sounds that I'm used
Yeah,
to. And that which is fine by me that they're bringing in classic sounds, because this genre has pretty much been
that's
perfected
diluted.
almost 15
Yeah.
years ago or 20 years ago.
Well, I think what's really good is that they bring in the good things like the modern day mixing, like of
Of
mixing
course,
the
yeah.
songs well, but it
Mhm.
doesn't ruin the song. It makes it sound better. It doesn't make it sound shitty.
Yeah,
You know?
and I'll note that in terms of the mixing, it doesn't seem to be mixed perfectly to me. Um, it sounded like they recorded the vocals and the instrumentals separately or something, and then like layered them together or something. But the singer, it sounds good though. What I'm trying to get to is that it's unique sounding. It like if you listen to like Art School right now, the singer sounds like he's in a different room than the instruments, but like I don't know, it sounds good to me. Did you get what I'm kind of saying, or
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it's just the singing stands out. You could tell that they probably didn't record the singing at the same time as the guitar and drums.
yeah, I don't think they did, but
Which is
it
fine because
works.
it doesn't
Yeah,
like ruin anything. It still sounds
no, not at
just
all.
as good. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it made
This
for
song, this whole album just makes me so happy.
me
Like
too, me
I'm
too.
not
It
like
just
it's
put a
so
smile on
good.
my face. I literally wrote down in my limited notes. I just wrote, "This is my type of music," which I
I
think.
oh, dude, there's not even like a song that I'm like, oh, would you like this song? 'Cause I know you'd like it. Like trying to
Yeah,
fool
I
you.
like most, if not every song.
Okay, I would
I
say there's two songs that are like my least favorite would be "Summertime" and "Name Brand." My
Okay,
least favorite.
I was gonna say summertime also.
Okay,
Kind of just maybe because it's the middle of the album, just nothing really significant about it.
but like
Um,
it, it comes, but it kind of sucks because it's a different kind of song. It's slow. It's really slow at the beginning,
yeah,
but then after like songs 1 through 4, Art School, Hunting for Sport, Crash Test Rating, and Strawberryta are all like faster songs that are good.
yeah.
And
Those
then
might be that
Summertime's
might be my
slow,
favorite like 3 or 4 track run, kind of like right to start it
dude.
off.
I would have to like, but eat shit, trying to fool you. You're killing me. I'm my own doctor. Name Brand.
Yeah,
Not a bad
yeah,
ending.
yeah. So trying to fool you and you're killing me are also two of my favorites. I think.
Oh my god, it's so good. Trying to fool you
Yeah.
is so good.
Um, I will say one thing about um one thing that's pretty consistent throughout the whole album that I just noticed. I don't know why this is a random thing I kind of picked out, but whoever plays the bass on this album, that guy rocks. Every single song I noticed like a really good bass line in it. So that's one thing that kind of appealed to
That's
me.
that, but I think that's that pop punk like influence. Because you think about
Right.
pop punk bands, and
They
every
always
every
have
band has a
that.
good bassist. There's no
Right.
constant bass. It's like pretty good bass, and that's what I think that's where they get in like inspired from too.
Yeah, yeah, of course you have like Mark Hoppus in Blink-182 or
Trey
Pete
Cool
Wentz. Yeah. Who yeah, so the
or
bass is
fuck not Trey Cool, fucking Mike Dirnt. I need to walk out now. I just fucked up
that's
Green
okay.
Day's bassist name.
That's okay. I don't
Ugh.
know the names of most bands. That's okay.
I'm a
But
I'm a
yeah, no,
name.
what we're trying to say is that it is very characteristic of the kind of pop punk music to have like a heavy kind of really convicting bass line that really grabs you and catches your attention. And I noticed it here. I thought it was awesome. Um, Another note about the album in general is that I think the songs have really good transitions. I think going from the end of one song to the start of another one is really cool and seamless. And when you have a whole album that's just like slappers back to back to back over and over, like it's pretty easy. But this is like the quickest 37 minutes of my life. Like it just went from one to another so smoothly, and every song just rocks. So yeah,
Yeah, like I'm listening to the album as we're talking about it now because it's
yeah,
that good. That's the
yeah. I don't
first
blame
time that
you.
I've
I might
done
listen
that
to it
on
after
this.
this.
It's the first time I've done that on this podcast. Usually I'm pretty like I try to stay
Yeah,
focused,
I
but it's
think
that good.
I don't want to speak for you, but I think we might have run into the problem that we've run into before on this album, where it's like everything about it is kind of so good that we don't really know what to say exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I can break it down more. Because I can probably say more about like what makes the song so good. Because like
Yeah,
I
I'd love to
with
hear
this
your takes on that because
yeah.
I was kind of just like
So
jamming and vibing.
so the thing
So
with the reason why I picked this album too is because I kind of had some controversy with it after I listened to it a lot. So, I guess before I break down all these songs, there was like this dilemma with this album and the band that I was like kind of weird about because around this time that I was listening to this album, I was listening to a lot of Mom Jeans as well, which Mom Jeans is like an indie rock kind of pop punk kind of
mhm.
band. And their lead singer he had like sexual assault allegations and that kind of thing. And then after that, it was kind of like oh fuck, like indie rock resurgence is dead. Because then what happened with this band was that they fucking they fucked over their drummer. So if you're looking at the
Okay,
cover, the two guys on the left kicked out the guy on
let
the
me.
right.
Okay,
So the two guys on the left kicked out the guy on the right, and there's no explanation why. More, it was probably like they wanted to cut him out of the deal and like a record deal or something like that. It was super fucking petty, and after the that whole shit with the Mom Jeans lead singer and Remo Drive, I was just like, I can't. This is supposed to be fun. I
yeah,
wanted to go to house shows. I wanted to get into the more like DIY indie scene, and this is high school, whatever. Well, and it kind of led into COVID time too, and I got more into Black Keys, way back into Black Keys again, and more Dan Auerbach blues kind of stuff, and I got away from the indie rock, which is surprising because now you know me as like since we've kind of had a resurgence in our friendship, you've known me as more of an indie rock guy,
definitely.
and that was a newer thing for that was probably around when I started talking to you. I got back into indie rock. I didn't listen to
Okay,
any because I was like, everybody's a piece of shit. Everybody's a whiny little bitch. Everybody's a fucking
that's
sexual
fair.
harasser and everything. And so I was like, but anyway, so like after this album, after their 2017 album, Remo Drive has not been the same. They don't have a song anywhere comparing. Like you kind of talked about Gene Dawson not having a good
Hmm.
bounce back album. These guys don't have one song that is close to anywhere as good as the songs on this album. The
Wow.
worst song, Summertime, is
Hmm.
10 times better than any other song that they have. And it's kind of sad that I'll look on like TikTok and I'll see like someone be like Remo Drive their newest album is so good, and then I'm like, okay, I'll go listen to it. I'm like, oh my god, you didn't like people that listen to Remo Drive now were not exposed to greatest hits when they first came out, and it's kind of
Oh yeah.
sad because in hindsight, this album will be their greatest hits album. You know, because
Yeah,
they just
which is
I
kind of
don't think
creepy
they'll.
that they named it that, and then it kind of became this. Apple Music is actually confused by an album being called Greatest Hits. They have it under the compilations category, not even under the albums category.
Nope,
Uh,
that's what the album's called.
yeah, but from what I understand, it might as well be.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah, but it's just like
well,
this.
and that sucks because you kind of talked about your journey with indie rock and whatnot. For me, it was I talked about this on the show before. I used to listen to like this type of stuff, kind of alt rock and like pop punk stuff. Like I used to listen to like religiously that for a good couple few years before I started branching out, and then I kind of dumped it for a while, like Riley said. And then I've gotten back into it in the past few years, but it's been mostly just continuing to listen to those artists I used to like, not really
Yeah,
discovering new ones. I've just been
there's
always
a
going
lot of
back
good
to
stuff, dude. Like
right, and
if I'm
I just
being
haven't gotten into it. But
well,
I got
what's
so that's why I was
great
excited to hear this.
what's great is kind of being on social media. Like I used to hate social media, but being on social media, like especially like TikTok, has exposed me
Mhm.
to so much new music that I'm
Yeah,
like
absolutely,
it re-exposed me to Remo Drive. That's kind of why I got back into them as I saw like that post that I
absolutely.
was just talking about where this person was like, "Oh, listen to this song. It's a great song." And it sucked. Like it was one of Remo Drive's new songs. And listening to hardcore stuff and listening to Turnstile and getting back into like almost like get Neutral Milk Hotel, Mitski, like even Elliott Smith, like all the
Mhm.
slower stuff, like I loved that I kind of was able to get that back in the past year and or so
Yeah,
because
totally.
it's good music. I mean, like just because you don't agree with like with Remo Drive, for example, I don't agree how they treated their drummer, but I still like this album that this drummer contributed to. It
Right.
actually helps me sleep at night knowing that their albums suck after the drummer got kicked out.
Yeah, it's kind of like
You know?
karma for them. But
Yeah.
I totally agree with you on what you were saying. I mean, of course, I have music that I just kind of seek out and find, and I've had stuff that I've listened to forever before I was even on social media. But I would not have the taste I have at all without the internet. It's such a great tool, and with streaming services, we have more access to music now than we ever have before. I mean, before streaming services, you would have had to like, let's say we were doing classic mix up 10 or 15 years ago, we would have had to like go buy a CD I know I would like borrow it from you if I wanted to hear the album that you recommended me. Like
Yeah.
it's
I would
just
have to mail
so
you
much
out a
less
CD
accessible.
all the way
Yeah,
up to fucking Houghton.
right. It wouldn't even be possible. We're 550 miles apart. It's like, but with the the introduction of streaming services and social media and stuff,
Yeah.
it's awesome for artists being able to grow and for people being able to find
For
more stuff they
broke
like.
college
And
kids who can't afford to buy music.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got the Apple Music Family Plan. It's
Yeah.
$15 a month, and
I'm
I
on the
got 5 people
Spotify.
on there.
I'm on the Spotify family plan with four
Yeah,
people on
it's a
it. Yeah.
beautiful thing. It's a
I
beautiful thing. It's based, so
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, what's awesome too is that it's yeah, it's like I don't know, like I'm glad to have like I guess the availability to like okay, the accessibility to these services are fucking insane. Like I would
Mhm.
love to show someone that it like I love it when I talk to someone and they're like, "Oh, I've never heard of this band." And I'm like, "Oh my god, like I want to show you every song." And when you get like there's a difference between like me going up to my girlfriend and being like, "Hey, have you heard of this band?" Her being like, "No." And me being like, "Oh my god, I have to play this song." And she's just very like, "Okay." But when you get
Mhm.
that one person that is like, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm interested into this," and wants to be like, "Oh, dude, oh, like
And you
listen
get
to
to
every
nerd out
song." Like,
together.
well, I think that's why me and you get along so well when we talk about
Right, I was just
music
gonna
is
say
because
that
we both nerd out for music that we show each other no matter what it is. Like even that Gene Dawson album, I listened to all of it and I still like said that some parts were cool,
for sure.
you know? But like
Yeah.
it's cool. But Also, like, what's really cool with streaming services is that they know you're listening so well that, like, if you
that they
listen
can
to, like, a
recommend stuff.
yeah, and their recommendations are so dead on. And I think the curators with for at least Spotify are really like they hire some good curators for like their because if you
Their
want to hop
playlists and
into a
stuff.
yeah, like listen to a indie rock playlist, you're gonna get a good variety or a really niche subsect. You're gonna find good playlists
Mhm.
because people curate their own playlists too. And you can click on something random and be like, oh, I want to get into this like DIY stuff, it's more hardcore stuff. And then
Yeah.
you could find your next favorite artist, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
that's cool. And I agree because for example, I'm looking at my Apple Music right now and it's giving me more like Pixel Bath and it's showing the artists that we mentioned or some, like it's showing Paris, Texas, who I mentioned, Kenny Mason, who I mentioned, JPEG Mafia, who you mentioned, so they're kind of on point
yeah,
with that type of things. And that's how I find, a lot of stuff. But I guess kind of bringing it full circle back to what I was talking about before is that this genre, this like pop punk emo, it doesn't get it's not being made as often and it's not being promoted as often. And I feel like it's just overall rarer to see. And I was just really, really happy to get the opportunity to hear a new to me pop punk emo album of this quality.
yeah.
And
It's
it
crazy
was
that
just a
this
really good
album is 5 years
experience.
old. It's crazy that this album is 5 years old. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn. Like, I'm like, wow, 5 years ago. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, for me, it might as well be 3 days old. That's when I
Well,
heard it.
and
But
that's, dude, I will be listening to it. You can text me anytime you're like, dude, this song's so good.
yeah, and I
Listen to
already
it.
did.
Yeah,
We usually don't talk before the podcast. We talk literally before the podcast, but we don't talk in the week leading up to it that we record it about the albums.
mm,
Um, often, but I did text Riley like you really hit it out of the park with this one because this is
yeah.
my exact like how we were just talking about how the Spotify curators they know what you want to hear. Like you nailed it for me. This is
Dude, I got
exactly like
I got
what I
more
would want
shit
to
if
hear.
you I got hey, off pod, I can send you some stuff. Like, dude, like you're running out of albums, and I find a new album that's one of my favorite albums every day.
Yeah, no,
And then like
I
I
do
can
also.
send you
It's
some.
just yeah, I am glad that we have this kind of outlet for that, kind of an excuse to do that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
But I guess going back to this album more, uh what this album does the best is create nostalgia. And I think
yeah,
even if you
easily.
never even if you didn't go through high school, like when I like I think when I was listening to this album for the first time, I was fresh in high school and kind of like I didn't really experience high school or like, like, or they talk about things more like college level or that kind of stuff. Like even art school is more about like girls that go to art school, but that's not necessarily high school girls. They're more like, like college, but
Hmm.
like it could be art schools and high school art girls, but they talk about girls and it's like art 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 class girls. And I was like an art kid and I was like, "Oh my god, these guys are talking about girls that I like, like I was like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god."
for sure,
But
for sure.
it just even if you haven't experienced what they talk about, it's so nostalgic to be like, "Oh man." To almost like be daydreaming. Like they almost like each song is like a daydream song of like something that would play in your head, like thoughts that would play in your head when you're
Yeah,
like
dude,
in
and
class.
that's why I like. Some people find that cringe about this genre, whatever. I tend to like that they have that kind of angsty teenage kind of well, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but they're sometimes relatable, sometimes just entertaining, but without fail, I'm just always able to be kind of transported to they're so atmospheric and just create this environment for the listener that to me is just so fun and enjoyable and nostalgic. And it just I don't know, the record really just put a smile on my face. It was, like I said, the fastest 37 minutes I've had in a long time, I think. And
Yeah, it
I will be
just
indulging in the album in the future.
It's just so good.
Yeah. I've got a couple
Well, and
favorite tracks
it's
too.
a lot about self-care as well, which is kind of cool. Like I'm my own doctor. It's being
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just so good.
it is.
It,
I mean, if you couldn't tell from the last like 20, 30 minutes we've been talking about it, I mean, I couldn't recommend it enough.
oh, it's so
But
good. Like I could not recommend
yeah,
this album even more.
yeah, totally. I'm surprised it
But
took you 11 weeks to get this to me, but I'm glad
I
I got
forgot
here.
about it, dude. I forgot about it.
Yeah,
I have listened
yeah.
to a
And
lot of
there's plenty of stuff that I'm forgetting about too, and like I heard something come on my playlist today, and I'm like, oh, I have to. Riley has to hear this album, so
okay,
I'm gonna
yeah.
save it. But yeah, you're gonna hear it.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. Is like I listen to a lot of music, but I have this friend
Mhm.
who actually recommended the podcast to. I don't know if Josh is listening to this. What's up, Josh?
What's up,
But
Josh?
he like we were showing like each other like our Spotify like saved music, and I have like 6,000 songs.
Mhm.
He has like 14,000 songs saved or something
Holy
like that.
shit!
And it's like he listens to. He's like, oh no, I have a house music playlist, and then I have more of more like a dad rock playlist, and then I'm like, it's just wild. And he listens to that. He listens to everything. This dude
That's
listens
cool.
to everything. So, uh, shout out to him. But
That's what I aspire to be. Shout out, Josh, dude. You're a cool dude.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
all right.
but
What's your top songs?
yeah, I was gonna say I've got some top songs. I'm gonna give you four because I don't think I can narrow it down to three. So
Dude.
um, I'm gonna go with this is an order of the track list, by the way. No order here. I'm gonna say Art School. Really cool and unique, and I love the little dun 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 after the chorus, that little guitar thing. I don't know. I really like that. That made me happy.
Yeah.
Next, Hunting for Sport, which comes soon after it.
Oh yeah. Good
I
song.
think it's a great contrast to come after Art School because it's got a little bit of a slower tempo and more sick bass playing here. And then I'm gonna go with Trying to Fool You, which has a chorus that just makes me want to like headbang so hard I snap my own neck. It's just that the album is just so easy. It's so easy to listen to. It's like easy, fun listening because it's got the seamless transitionings and like the catchy, heavy choruses. It's like so perfect. But
Yeah. I
then
definitely have
finally,
some. Let's go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna go to my next song so you can finish your thought.
Okay, so that song reminds me of like playing fucking Destiny 2 or Destiny
Okay.
1 and being
Okay.
like speed running some exotic drops. So
Oh
I was
yeah.
like jumping around really fast and like
Mhm.
killing everything and then being like like humming the chorus of
Yeah.
that song.
Dude, I
So
would totally put that song to like a montage of like my snowboarding clips or something if I had any.
do it.
But
Do it one
yeah,
day.
yeah, maybe I will. That would be
Mine would
sweet.
be
But
Rap Snitch Knishes. That would be my
oh,
song.
that'd be a cool vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, finally to round out my top four, I've got You're Killing Me, which I think is the most popular track on the album. It has a great cadence. I love kind of how it progresses, it kind of builds up. It's just like the rest of the album, it's super upbeat, super fun. Yeah, quality track on this quality album.
Dude. It's good shit.
Yeah.
I would recommend Art School.
Yep.
Sorry, a random ass number has been FaceTiming me for the past couple days.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
And I don't want to answer because I don't want that awkward
I would
confrontation.
never answer a FaceTime from a random number.
So,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but okay. But I would say Art School, Crash Test Rating, Eat Shit, Trying to Fool You, You're Killing Me, and I'm My Own Doctor. So that's like what, 5?
I'd say that might be like more than half the album, but
well,
yeah.
I would recommend this whole album. There's not a bad
100%. I mean, it's 37 minutes. I think
isn't
everyone
a bad song either. Like even the songs that are like Summertime and Name Brand, which are songs that I said aren't my favorite, are so fucking good and so fun to
Yeah.
sing along
I
with.
think everyone can realistically find 37 minutes throughout their week if they're really interested. So I 100% would give it a try if you either like us are huge fans of the pop punk kind of alt rock genre and kind of miss when you were in that kind of lane, or if you have no idea what we're talking about and you want to have that experience for the first time yourself, this would be a great starting place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree that this album is so good.
yeah,
I mean,
thanks, dude.
if you're watching the YouTube edition of this podcast, which we do post on YouTube, everybody,
We
we
do,
post on Amazon, we post on Spotify,
we
Apple
do.
Music, and um and YouTube. But YouTube, you see our
Yes,
beautiful faces on webcam. Just a
of
little
course.
plug there, a little shameless plug. But I have this huge smile on my face every once in a while because I click on a song to listen to it on Spotify on my computer, and that shit just is like it's just the fucking
It's
it hits
heavenly,
so good.
so
Like the
good.
song "Trying to Fool You" is so good.
Yeah.
Oh
This
Lord,
is maybe the first time that I can remember on Classic Mix Up that I prefer the album that you gave me to the one that I gave you.
hey,
Because
that's
usually
good.
I'm giving some of my more favorite albums, some of my more beloved, but this greatest hits by Remo Drive has already kind of jumped into probably one of my
A
favorites for the
good
next little bit.
dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm
That's
excited
like
to
so
continue
cool.
to listen to this.
Yeah, dude, I got more stuff.
I'm also excited to go to their similar artists and explore a little bit
Oh,
because
dude,
I
yeah.
could get back into
That
this for sure.
that's a lot of
I
stuff
see
that I was
Mom
gonna.
Jeans right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's how I got into Mom Jeans.
Okay.
It's through their recommended. But like all of these, Heart Attack Man is really good. Charmer. I don't know what you see, but I'm looking through
Yeah,
them.
mine are slightly different. I do see
Slaughter Beach Dog.
Charmer.
I don't know if you see Slaughter Beach
I see
Dog.
Slaughter Beach Dog. Yeah.
He's big with like TikTok, like the indie
Okay.
girls on TikTok.
Well,
I don't know if
I
indie dudes on TikTok like Slaughter Beach Dog, but I know a lot of
well,
sweet
I tend to identify a lot with the indie girls given my obsession with, Her Highness
Claro
Claro.
and Phoebe.
Yeah, I'm a big Phoebe Bridgers fan. I have to admit, and
I
Claro,
do.
and Lord.
I'm becoming more and more of a
Yeah,
Phoebe Bridgers fan every day.
yeah. If we're done talking about
Oh yeah,
Remo
no,
Drive,
yeah.
no, I have some. Speaking of Phoebe Bridgers, I guess for a smooth segue, she recently released like a Christmas kind of EP, like
I
Christmas
listened to it.
songs.
Yeah,
Oh, you listened to it too? Okay,
yes,
perfect.
sir.
It's
What is it
like
called? Something wine or let's
so
drink
much
wine.
wine.
So
Yeah,
much.
it's almost like part 3 of our. This could almost be like our third album of the week.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Gosh, that album was powerful, man. That
I
EP,
love
I
it.
should say. Yeah, I didn't. I should have expected this going into it, but I didn't expect it to be like so powerful and so like emotional. I guess
It's so sad for a Christmas
it's
album.
so sad, which I don't. Yeah, even like yeah, it's so sad, but like that kind of fits the vibe for the winter. I mean, like without being too cliche or cringe, I mean, like it is kind of shitty right now. Like life during the winter kind of sucks. The sun's down and like everyone's always busy and just I don't know, man. I kind of identify with this album. I love Christmas. Don't
And
get me
it's a
wrong.
fucking lie that it's because of the weather. That shit is it's everywhere. Everybody is just fucking it's just that time
Yeah,
of year. Everybody's
right.
like, "Oh, it's just the
It's not
weather."
just in
No,
Michigan. Even if
it's
you're listening to this
everywhere.
in sunny Florida, it's just that time of year. It's like
Yeah,
cool. I personally I like the winter weather.
me
You
too.
know,
I like the cold and
I
snow.
don't get cold too easily. I like wearing sweatshirts. I like wearing like whatever hoodies. I love snowboarding. I like hockey. I usually enjoy the winter, but yeah, man, it's a slog sometimes to get through these days.
Cause I
But
just know, like for me, I know that Christmas is almost here, and I love
yeah,
Christmas.
I'm a very jolly person. I actually
Yeah.
do really like Christmas. I'm a big JC guy, also, like Riley says.
Oh
So
yeah, big JC guy. Me on the other
yeah.
hand, love me some pagans. You know.
Yeah. Well, when I saw Phoebe Bridgers doing Silent Night, I'm like, oh, is Phoebe Bridgers a big JC guy? And then I'm
Did you
like, yeah,
just get on
probably
your knees
not.
and start praying?
Judging by the newsreel in the back talking about all the murder and death in the world, probably not. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean, JC, there's a reason for all that murder and death, right?
yeah. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
don't know, dude. I don't think you know that. I'm just
I don't think anyone knows, but I think
I
Phoebe
don't even
Bridgers knows how to make a
JC
good
knows.
fucking song.
If we had JC himself on this stream, he'd be like, I don't know, man. Shit.
Yeah, that's a topic that whatever. Let's just say whatever holidays you celebrate in December, if any. I hope you enjoy them.
Hanukkah,
I hope they're happier
Kwanzaa.
for you than Phoebe Bridgers were for her.
But she just got engaged.
Yeah, I'm sure she's happy currently in
I'm
real
sure.
life,
Well, but Phoebe Bridgers just makes depressing ass music. So
and she's damn good at it.
yeah, that's hey. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
I completely agree, man. And she
Getting
she
all
blew me
these
away with this
bi
6-song
girls
little EP,
dancing.
dude.
She gets
Dude,
all the
I
bi
woke up
girls
on
dancing.
whatever day this dropped. I think it was December 1st. I woke up and I'm like, oh shit, Phoebe
November
Bridgers.
17th.
Okay, then that day. Oh shit, November 17th. Okay, no, I just listened to this like this week, but whatever day that I heard this dropped, I woke up and I'm like, oh shit, Phoebe Bridgers EP. Like, I'm gonna have to give this a spin for sure. And like, it really set the tone for my whole day. I was like, God damn, I'm depressed now. But no,
Dude,
not
that's why
actually. But
I think it's not that I love Phoebe Bridgers more and more as time goes on, but I appreciate her songwriting. And that's because of my
yeah.
girlfriend. Like my girlfriend is like, "Oh, this song is so good." And she'll be like, "But
Well,
listen to
shout
this
out your
guitar
girlfriend.
part." Yeah, she might
She
be
knows
on the
what's up.
Christmas special. She might force her way
Yeah,
onto set and punch me
yeah,
and beat me up. And
yeah.
no, never
Should we
mind.
talk? Should we talk Christmas special real quick?
Yeah, go. Let's do it, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll lay out the classic mix up schedule here for the next couple weeks. So you are seeing this on December 9th, which is a Friday, as always, as usually Friday we release these. We're gonna take Friday the 16th off. Me and Riley are really busy. We have finals week and stuff like that, and just the holiday
I mean,
season.
when are you driving back home? That Friday?
I don't know yet, but I'm figuring it
Okay.
out. But that week.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna take a week off to prepare our end of the year album of the year lists and maybe song of the year list and maybe other
Just
miscellaneous.
everything, dude. We're gonna be talking
Yeah,
about everything. So
yeah, we're gonna do a 2022 wrap up Christmas / New Year
fun.
/ end of
Yeah,
the year
it's gonna be a
special.
party. It's gonna be a little
It's gonna
party.
be an extravaganza. We're hoping to get some special guests on. We're gonna talk about our favorite moments in music of the year. We've only been doing classic mix-ups since I want to say September or October, so we missed most of the year, but we're gonna wrap it up.
But a
Talk
lot
about
of the best music dropped while we were doing this podcast. Luckily,
yeah, there was some great stuff that we've already talked about on this podcast. If you want to check out episode 3 and I believe maybe episode
7,
like 7 or 8, we those are our episodes where we talked about purely 2022 music, but we're gonna be doing a whole episode dedicated to the year of 2022. Yeah, we hope you join us. It's gonna
It'll
be
be
really
jolly.
fun.
We're gonna try to put some production into it. Do maybe a skit, like an opening skit for the YouTube video.
For the YouTube, yeah.
So
We
we're kind of
gotta
it's in
plan some
talks.
stuff.
It's in talks. But it'll
Yeah,
be just
and
fun.
the special guests are in talks also, but we might get some special guest action. So yeah,
It'll be live.
uh,
We'll have jolly music and
yeah, we're really excited for that. So we hope you join us on that. I'm gonna do a little bit of advertising on Twitter about that, and just
yeah.
it's gonna be good.
We might. I guess we don't have a big enough fan base, but we could run a little charity donation thing if we really wanted to.
Oh,
We
that'd
had
be
that
cool.
big of a fan base, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but if that's something that anyone would be interested in, we would definitely look
Yeah,
into it.
we'll
So,
reach out to anybody that listens. We'll just follow our
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah,
At
you know where to
Classic
find
Mix a
us.
Pod.
Everything's public.
At Classic Mix a Pod. That's where our Twitter is. We post a lot of updates, and we'll probably do do a little poll on if we should do a donation thing. So,
Sure.
do a little fundraiser.
Yeah. So yeah,
But,
that's our little advertisement for our holiday special.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Wear Santa hats, some sweaters.
Bet.
Yep. Get yourself an Anaheim Ducks winter hat because you're a fucking traitor.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ditching the Anaheim Ducks license plate holder. By the way, I got a MTU Huskies one, so
Oh, okay. That's actually like valid.
that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. You know, the Ducks
yeah.
suck. I don't even watch the NHL anymore ever since I started watching college hockey. So
Well, the Red Wings are doing better now, so
yeah, they are. I've actually caught a couple Red Wings game. I watched the game last night against the
yeah.
Lightning. They won
Oh
four to
my
two.
god, that was so satisfying.
Yeah,
Fuck,
that was nice. Fuck the Lightning for real.
I hate those
But
guys.
yeah,
Ah, dude,
yeah,
I guess you want to do a little what we're listening to. I know you're
yeah.
listening to
I
some
mean,
music.
I kind of started it with the Phoebe Bridgers thing because that was on my mind.
Mm,
But
yeah, I've been
what do you
listening
got?
to fuck Jack Johnson. Love me some Jack Johnson
Nice,
as usual.
of course.
Some mediocre bad guy symbol in my driveway. I resaved Dark Red by Steve Lacy. For some reason I unsaved it
It's a
because it
good
was
ass
getting
song.
shuffled so much. Elliott Smith, a bunch of Elliott Smith. Uh Remo Drive, I got basically the whole album resaved because again, back in the day I would unsave music I didn't want to listen to anymore instead of just
Okay.
making new playlists. So it was really stupid. But and then I have more Elliott Smith. I got to the Arm& Hammer album with Alchemist and the song
Oh
Stone
yeah,
Food I've been listening to a lot.
that's my favorite song off it. That song is fucking
Oh, it's
Billy
so good.
Wood's verse on that song is like sickeningly good. It's like
So good.
disgusting.
So good.
It like makes me want to puke by how good it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's so good.
it's like disturbing, but
A
it's
lot of
amazing.
I saved a whole bunch of Lumineers music that I used to listen to a lot. Probably in the
Okay.
vein of getting back into Remo Drive. I was like, hey, you know what band I really liked in high school and I kind of fucked
Yeah.
off from because I was like, "Oh, that's not cool enough for me to listen to," was Lumineers, and I love the people like, I think I love the fan base of the Lumineers 10,000 times over any other band that I listen to. Those people I vibe with.
That's
Um,
cool.
and so I didn't realize how many Lumineer songs I actually love until I went back and saved a bunch of stuff. Um, they don't have a bad album, Lumineers. So, uh let's see. This band, Sunbeam Sound Machine, pretty good. It's kind of like a Mac DeMarco-y kind of sounding band. Um, Nick Drake, he's a guy that like he did like folk, you know, Nick
Yeah.
Drake.
Pink Moon. Yeah.
Yeah, from the morning off of Pink Moon.
Okay.
So if you know that album,
Yeah. Yeah.
this band Mind Force, so good. It's such a fucking good hardcore band. It's so fun. They kind of sound like Turnstile, but like old Turnstile. And
Okay.
it's so good. I've been bumping them. My new I like kind of started a new playlist and it's
I
bumping,
started a
dude.
new playlist too.
We
I
get
started a new playlist and it fucking bangs, man. It was so good that I had to tweet about it.
it's bumping.
Yeah, dude. I made a playlist for like the winter kind of vibe and specifically for listening to while I go snowboarding.
Oh
And
yeah.
usually I for like the winter playlist, like the winter season, I try to capture the songs that are kind of chill and low key, but like still go hard, because there is a that has that's a
Like
type of
Trying to
song,
Fool You.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I think I
Yeah.
actually already have some Remo Drive on there, but yeah, that one would be perfect. Yeah, I have You're Killing Me and Trying to Fool You on there already. Yeah, I have a lot of Mavi and West Side Gun type of stuff where it's like Earl Sweatshirt, that's perfect.
Hey
Boldy
yo.
James,
Hey
where it's
yo.
not over the top, but it still goes hard.
Right.
Um,
I speaking of a little bit of a snowboarding thing, I saw you got those new boots. Those new
Dude, yeah, the bindings. I'm
the
so excited to
bindings.
get those. Yeah.
Those are sick.
So if anyone
Clean.
listening to snowboarder, real quick, I'll just explain. My bindings broke last year and I limped through the year with them broken, but like so they're screwed into the board, underneath. And like one of my screws went bad and like so basically I was riding on 3 screws, so everything was kind of wobbly, but it is what it worked for the while.
You know what, dude? You know what, dude?
What?
I've never
What?
snowboarded before. I should come up and visit and
Dude, that'd
go
be
snowboard.
fucking sick. That'd be
Dude,
so
I'll
fun.
just
But
stay in the dorm, like sleep in the dorm,
I got a couch. I mean, it's not very big, but it's
crash.
there.
Dude, just give me a
But
throw anyway.
anyways, I need a new binding, so I figured, I'm gonna upgrade to step-in bindings. So if you don't know, for snowboarding, you have your bindings, which is what binds you to the board. Literally, it holds your boots onto the board. So the old school traditional bindings that a lot of people still rock that I had until this year, like just now, you got to like put the strap in the ratchet and like ratchet it shut and like physically crank it.
Yeah.
It takes like maybe 20, 30 seconds, and you have to like sit on your ass in the snow and do it. At least I do, because I can't balance well enough to do it standing up. And it's just annoying. No one likes doing it, but it's kind of an accepted thing that you have to do in snowboarding. Until enter a couple years ago, the technological advancement of the step-in binding, which works kind of like ski boots. How you step into skis, you kind of like put your foot in and then just like click, and you're like locked in. Yeah, so they have that for snowboards now, and I did it. You know, I dropped a decent amount of money, but
Dude, those must be a pretty penny.
They ran me about
$500.
I got a deal. I got them for $450. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, okay, so you got $50 off of them.
I got $50 off. I got a 10% off, so I got $50 off them. I'm not paying for it all though.
That shit is nice.
No, yeah, well, that's gonna be Christmas from my mom is part of that, fuck. and then the other part of it I'm paying for. Dude.
I was I think I was trying to get a good tattoo out of Christmas this year.
Ooh,
for my dad, get a little.
What are you
tattoo.
Thinking about?
So I have these 2 tattoos planned for my mom, my sister. I was gonna get my a ballerina tattoo on my arm for my sister because she was a dancer, and then a Jack of Hearts card for my mom because her nickname is Jax. So
nice.
Get her a little, and those are tattoos that I won't regret. You know, they're not like,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna get a clown jerking off on my arm. You know, like no,
it's like you're getting fucking Kanye on your arm, and now he's a fucking Nazi.
But I think that like I mean my 2 tattoos. I only have 2 tattoos, but Siri just started talking to me. What the fuck? Sorry, but fucking my 2 tattoos are Beatles and Tribe Called Quest. Both groups don't perform anymore, and both have dead members. So that's why I got them. Like, okay, nothing will be able to be fucked up. You know, like nothing will be able to be messed up. So, but yeah, those 2 tattoos. So I might try to get a little bit of cash from my dad for a Christmas gift.
That's awesome.
My dad listens to this podcast, so Dad, wink.
Shout out, Dad, dude. Mr. Greenwood, you got to hook Riley up, dude. Those are gonna be sick tattoos. Pretty good cause.
Help me out, splash some cash.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to. But that's kind of like I might do that for Christmas if anybody's like, hey, I want to get you a gift. I don't know what to get you. I'm like, give me money for a tattoo. That shit that I would love. Or clothes. Just find some shitty shirt for me to wear. Like this shirt.
I like getting clothes and I like getting money to put towards stuff, obviously. Like I got these bindings coming that I'm gonna put some money towards. So yeah.
Yeah. Christmas. It's pretty good. Now that I'm older, it's just like so easy. It's just like, give me money.
Yeah, literally. But I like, yeah.
Or clothes.
My family sometimes doesn't like when I say that, but yeah, I usually default to clothes or a gift card of some sort. So yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, you know what I want to not forget to say that I listened to, by the way? This is like throwing it back, like way back, but remember you like recommended me to listen to this guy, Christian Lee Hudson? I finally, I was going through my records of like, what do I have to listen to? Because I write that shit down, you know? And I listened to his album called Beginners, and it was pretty good. Definitely kind of up my alley. It was a good vibe. I listened to it. Yeah, I listened to it kind of late at night. I was just like chilling. It was like really like 11 at night, and I was bored. I'm like, I'm gonna listen to the album before I go to sleep, and like that was a really good choice. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, that shit's good.
And then the other new,
his album after that is just as good, and I've only listened to a couple songs of it.
I might want to check that out because he kind of fits the vibe that I'm looking for in that type of music. But the other news thing I listened to, I'm assuming you haven't tapped into it, but Metro Boomin dropped an album called Heroes and Villains, obviously with a ton of features on it. I think it's awesome. I like a lot of songs on it. Just to highlight a few that I've been really into. Niagara Falls, Walk 'Em Down, Feel the Fire, Metro Spider, amazing Young Thug verse. But yeah, really the whole thing kind of really impressed me. I was kind of surprised by how good that shit was. So yeah. Wanted to highlight that. Might make it on some end of the year lists. You'll have to
Oh,
tune in a couple of weeks to find out. But yeah,
I watched a clip of I Am Dante reacting to this song. Hold on, I'll find it. Metro Boomin. Let's see. I'll find it. It'll take me like 2 seconds.
yeah, no, you're good. I also listened to some Minecraft music this week.
Oh, that shit.
Do you have a top Minecraft song? There's a correct answer. That's why I'm asking you.
Cat.
Yes, dude. That's why that's
what.
on this
So
podcast
you know my friend Wyatt, right? You're familiar.
Yeah.
Me and him in like 4th grade used to wake up at like 5 in the morning to play Minecraft before elementary school, and we had this little server that we would play on, and we were neighbors in the neighborhood. And I was a big troll, so I'd try shooting TNT at his house, all this kind of stuff. But we would always make up in the end until we didn't one day. And that's a story for another day. But we would put on every time we played. We made, no matter what world we run, we would try to get the record Cat. When we played on the record player,
obviously,
and get Cat, and we would do our mining. We'd bring a record thing with us, like a record player with us.
Yeah, the jukebox. Yeah. Cat is legendary. I was having this conversation with my friends at school when we were listening to the Minecraft music. I'm like, guys, like there is a right answer. Like it's Cat or you're wrong, honestly. And my roommate agreed with me. He's a Cat enjoyer. Our other friend, not so much. So
or the opening.
I was shocked.
The original opening theme song.
Yeah, like the do.
Yeah.
Do.
Now it's different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have different ones.
What a shame. I have not touched the game in a long time, but
dude,
shout out Cat, dude.
No, you don't have
Cat is a certified banger. I had to put that out on the podcast.
My friend Wyatt, we were gonna he has a tape burner, so he was gonna burn a tape of all of the Minecraft music onto a tape for me, and that was like 2 years ago, and it still hasn't happened. But I remember.
Well, that would have been cool,
dude. Yeah, I don't have a tape deck. I have like a whole stereo setup in my room, right? I want to get a tape deck to where I can play tapes, because I can play CDs, vinyl, and aux. But I want to get a tape deck. You're
missing a tape deck, yeah. That'd be an awesome addition.
Yeah, I gotta find one for cheap.
Get some Cat on the tape deck, dude. Hell yeah.
Just get it. Hey, it fuels my addiction of buying physical music.
True.
Go to a fucking record store and buy all their cheap tapes of albums I've already heard hundreds of times.
Yeah. It's like, man, I already have this album sitting here at my fingertips, and I can listen to it anytime.
I have
anywhere.
3 versions of this Black Keys record that I've bought. The colored vinyl, I bought the original version, and I have the deluxe version. How about I buy it on tape now?
Yeah. Well, to each their own. But yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find what you were looking up, by the way? I don't know what you were looking up.
Oh, dude, I can skim it in like a minute. Just talk about. You got something else to talk about?
You know, I can just read off some of the things that I've been fucking with, which I started doing. Earl Sweatshirt, big. I listened to some rap songs today. Kind of ties into how shitty life is right now, in general. Not specifically to me, I guess. I'm doing all right, but I listened to Dial It by Playboi Carti today. One of the things I've been absolutely obsessed with, I listen to at least a song off it every single day, is the Ferris Wheel on Fire EP by Neutral Milk Hotel, which is like an early demo EP by them. God damn, it is good. It's on Jeff Magnum's website right now. If you look it up, you can download it for free. So I got the files for that on my Apple Music. I listened to the Green Album by Weezer yesterday. Underrated from Weezer. I think it's their 3rd best album. Super poppy, upbeat, very fun album. Puts a smile on my face usually.
All right.
Okay, good.
Umbrella. That B switch in the beginning.
Yeah. That's why
Metro
21 Savage. Yeah, with 21 Savage with 21 Savage and Young Nudie. Yeah. 21 Savage went crazy on this album. We talked a couple weeks ago about Her Loss with Drake. How 21 Savage kind of fell flat a little, didn't really he didn't really embrace his typical style. On this Metro Boomin album, he was totally allowed to do what he likes to do, and God, he went
I
off
like 21 on this over the Drake album by far.
easily. I mean, that should not be a debate for anyone. I mean, the Drake album is all right, like it's a decent album, but he kind of had 21 in a box, and I don't like 21 being in.
21. Can you do some for me?
Can you hit a little rich flex for me? My roommate loves that song. I don't know.
What song is that called?
Rich flex.
Oh, what was the other one that's off of that song? Oh, that album.
That's off the Metro album or
Oh
Her
no,
Lost?
Jimmy Cooks.
Oh, Jimmy Cooks rocks. I love that song.
I feel like Jimmy Cooks sound. I feel like Drake makes the same 5 songs and just renames them.
Lately,
I just
yeah.
don't like Drake. Can
We
I
know.
be real with you?
I feel like we do this every week, low key.
I don't like Drake. Like I don't get it.
There's nothing
I
wrong
used
with
to
that.
fuck with Drake. Like I remember putting on like Passion Fruit for my grandma when she drove me home in middle school.
Passion fruit from miles away.
And then being like, what's a bad for me? Or it's a nice for what? I liked that song. But and then Views was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I like Views.
So going back, you know, Views, you got okay, I gotta go pretty far back for this. Realizing that Drake hasn't put out a actually like unique album in a long time.
It's been a little bit.
Fuck yeah, fucking More Life, Views. What a Time to Be Alive! Like that shit is so good. Like Jumpman, 30 for 30 freestyle. Like that shit is what
I love What a Time to Be Alive. Personally, I'm a big Future fan. And yeah, I really like the album.
Summer 16.
Yeah, it was certainly a time.
I
also am a Views fan. A lot of people don't like Views.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty big Drake
fan. Dude, this fucking album reminds like Controller reminds me of dude. Summer 16. So I was like 13. So it's like dude, that shit crazy. What was I doing, bro? Like, you ever think, like,
Views kind of came out when I was first getting into rap, so obviously I heard it everywhere.
Yeah. Fuck. Anyway, dude, that's a throwback. Classic mix-up throwback there.
Yeah, it is, and it's kind of sad to see where Drake's gone, but I don't know. Anyways, going back to what I was saying, I guess we kind of got off topic. Is I am a big fan of what 21 Savage did on the new Metro album. And I recommend it. I thought it was very good. That's what I've been listening to.
I look at it. I don't hate it. It's not what I listen to right now. So
yeah, of course, that's cool. But yeah, I was gonna ask about what we're listening to next week, but I forgot.
We're skipping a week, dude.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be listening to all my favorite 2022 albums and trying to put together a list. Yeah. And Remo Drive. Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anything to end it off with?
Yeah, I guess just help us grow the brand. Follow us on Twitter at Classic Mix-Up Pod. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see it scrolling across the screen right there. Oh, and it's over there now.
On the bottom, on the YouTube video, it'll be at the bottom.
Yep. When you follow us on there, you can see me and Riley's personal Twitter profiles. We use them sometimes, some of us more than others.
You do use it more, but
I use it a lot more. But
I'm every other day reposting something.
Yeah, I mean, you should not be as addicted to Twitter as I am. I'll be the first to admit that. In fact, I say delete your social media. It's horrible for you. But if you're gonna have it, at least follow us. Tell your friends if you have friends who are into music. Help us just grow the dream, grow the brand.
Yeah, we want to. I guess I was thinking about this, but we can talk about this a little bit off pod. But one day, I'd like to open up some avenues from this podcast because I love what we do here. I love.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that if we get a big enough fan base one day, I would love to do some like community stuff, being like donating and kind of maybe philanthropy, like starting our own nonprofit kind of thing.
Right. Maybe
You never know.
put some good into the world.
Well, yeah, because that's something that I'd want, like with a Patreon or something like that. We donate stuff,
Right.
or so just help us grow the brand. I know that we're pretty entertaining guys. We're pretty intellectual about our
We try.
music.
If you've
We're
made it
nerdy.
this far in this episode, and if you've made it this far to episode 11 in our existence, I mean, that's cool. Good for you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll keep doing this forever as long as we can. So
Hopefully, yeah.
yeah,
I see no signs of stopping. We're really excited for what's to come in the future. So
yeah,
I guess my final words will be just stay tuned and thank you for watching. And
yeah,
I hope we see you in the next one. It's going to be a good one.
yeah, for sure. Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.